Today's daily number, 3.14. To be exact, that's actually pi. Today is Pi Day, y'all. Shout out to all my math nerds out there, my math lovers out there. 3.14 is that mysterious math symbol that everybody argues about. But we'll talk about that a little bit more today. Today's show, the daily number, we're going to be talking all about money, right? My name is Kamari Ellis. I'm the Finance Rebel. I talk about all things money, stocks, taxes, business. You can find it all here on this show and on this channel as well. I help people solve their tax problems daily. That's my job, 9 to 5 during the day. But at night, I like to come here and bust it up with y'all and help people better understand money with hopes that these programs, these shows help increase your financial IQs at the end of the day. Because the better your understanding of money, the better you will live a better life. All right. So let's jump into today's rundown here, and I will share that on the screen in just a second. But today I'm going to be talking, of course, the rundown, Russia-Ukraine updates, PiDay, and electric bills are prepared to go higher. They've already risen some, but they're going to come higher. But we'll definitely get into all that in just a little bit. So I'm just sharing my screen as I always do here, so we can go over some of these numbers and see how the markets did today. And I can't find anything. Okay, here we go. Technology has been fighting me harder and harder these days, but I got it. All right, so the S&P 500, that's how we measure the stock market. S&P 500 is the 500 largest U.S. companies that are traded publicly around the world, actually, right? But today it closed at 4173, down 31 points, dropped about 0.75%, a little shy of 1%. So it's not bad. Things are starting to get a little bit more stable, so to speak, right? But the S&P is still down about 12.4%. Okay. Now let's take a look at gold. Let's take a look at oil. We always look at oil first, right? Oil closed down. We're no longer at that 130, 120 level. We're at 102.40. Okay. Gold dropped today about 0.5%, a little bit 0.5%, but gold still up. And I don't know, my screen just went out. There we go. Gold's still up for the year. It's still up. 35%, right? Remember, we were talking 60, 70% at one point. So oil's starting to fall. I don't know why I'm mixing up my commodities, but oil's starting to fall. I believe people are starting to get a little bit used to what's going on. The oil shocks are starting to come back in. Some of the people are able to take some money off the table, take some profits off of the table. And so I can see some of that happening. But I also wouldn't be surprised if oil ran back higher. So don't get comfortable. Don't sit on your laurels. All right. Gold's below that 2000 level, 1954. Gold is at 1954. Gold is still up 6.79%. Gold, just like oil, has, fallen behind or fallen under that $2,000 level. So it's interesting to see. It's starting to come back a little bit. People are not as anxious. They're starting to get used to this. After a while, when people see carnage and when people see hysteria, we tend to get used to it. Or after a while, right? We get desensitized to it. And that's what we're starting to see now with Ukraine and Russia. All right. Bitcoin, 39,127. Again, $39,127. So Bitcoin has been, doing what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin is down about 15% year to date, almost 15.5% year to date. It was up much higher, but then it came back down. So I'm expecting Bitcoin to do what Bitcoin is going to do. As I always say, I never look at Bitcoin or any of the cryptos as savings assets. I look at them as more, I don't want to call them speculative, but for this conversation, let's say speculative, right? Because these are not assets, or these aren't places where you want to put money for your rainy day fund. All right. So just keep that in mind. I know a lot of people are still excited about crypto, as they should be, but you got to keep it in perspective. All right. So let's talk about what's going on in Ukraine real quick. There's not a whole lot of differences again, or any changes, right? Russia's still continuing to bomb civilians, killing people at maternity wards. I saw a picture of a lady who died with her baby, sadly, right? Again, all this carnage, all this death for nothing. But sadly, it is what it is. All right, Russia. I heard this interesting story. Many of the Russians don't believe that there's a battle going on in Ukraine. I heard a story today of a father and son. Son called the father. Son lives in Ukraine. Father lives in Russia. Son says, I haven't talked to my father since all the bombing and all the war began, and this is kind of odd. Son calls the father, tells him about what's going on, and he doesn't believe him. He says it's propaganda. So the father's telling him it's propaganda in Ukraine, and the son, who's actually witnessing all the carnage, all the fallout, all the deaths, all the shortages, is saying, no, this is really happening here live in real color right now, Dad. But I guess only time will tell. Only time will tell. But again, propaganda is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. All right. And the U.S. is putting pressure on Beijing because Russia has actually reached out to China for more resources or help with resources. So they're working their back channels to say, hey, you better not help them or else there's going to be trouble. There's going to be trouble. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't even know if I saw another report over the weekend that said that China actually threatened Russia about invading Crimea before the Ukraine got invaded years ago. I think that was in 2014 or 2015 with the whole Crimea incident. So that's all very interesting how that all comes apart. All right. Now, today is PiDay. Today is PiDay. All right. Let's nerd out for a little bit, right? Because our children need to understand the power of mathematics and science, right? 3.14. I'm not going to get super duper nerdy, right? But it's the way you can divide the circumference of a circle, right? You can divide the circumference of a circle with 3.14 and it like comes out even all the time. I don't know how that happened. I don't know who figured it out, but I'm sure the Greeks take precedent over it, right? They acclimated it, they took it, they appropriated it, because we know ancient math, ancient science, well, it's not even ancient, right? But it all began in Africa, especially in Kemet and Egypt. But pi is a Greek symbol, and again, the Greeks are going to get credit for it again, leaving the Africans out. But again, propaganda is real. But we are living in modern day times, so we got to understand the modern day language. However, I do believe it's very important to understand what comes behind these changes in the times and the language. So let your kids know that math's very important, right? Science is very important. Science and math go together. There's over 10 million jobs that are unfilled that Black folks in the USA could fill if they had adequate and proper training, but they don't. And so a lot of times those jobs go overseas, filled by someone in Asia a lot of times, because we don't have the infrastructure here to help our people get better education. So push your children to learn math. Push your children to learn science. At some point, I'm supposed to have Akil Parker on the weekly show, the Wealthy Wednesday show, so we can talk about math. Akil is like a math professor. He loves math. He has this company all about math. So I'm definitely going to have him to talk about that and talk about some of the opportunities in math. So stay tuned for that in one of the next upcoming Wealthy Wednesdays as well. All right. Now, last story. Why your electric bill is so high. Now, a lot of people don't realize that, sadly, because of this whole Ukraine-Russia issue, utilities are going up, wheat's going up, commodities are going up. And a lot of people don't realize that natural gas actually fuels electricity a lot of times. It depends. Sometimes it's hydro as well, hydro being water, right? They have these dams with water, but a lot of times it's actually natural gas. So natural gas will push and help fuel electricity production. Sadly, natural gas, Russia is a major producer of that. Ukraine is also a major producer of that. We know there's a lot of tariffs and import squeezes, so we can't get mass production out of Russia and Ukraine right now. So it's an issue. So we're starting to see those numbers go up, right? They've already gone up about 20%. They're estimated to go up even higher. So in estimates of this, or in preparation of this, you might want to look at some other alternatives, whether burning candles, whether, depending, because like my house, I have heating and gas together. So I'm going around and I am flipping the switch. I'm turning off all of the electricity around the house. So my kids say I'm a drill sergeant when it comes to electricity. And I'm like, but y'all don't help drill and pay for none of these bills. So yeah, I walk behind them and I give that to them. All right, so here it says right now, with sanctions against Russia threatening for another constraint, global natural gas supplies, higher prices are likely to persist. Executives and analysts say, especially in regions heavily reliant on the fuel for power generation. All right, so that's going to be interesting. There was a couple of predictions here. I'm trying to find it. Let's see here. U.S. Henry Hub gas prices on Friday reached about $4.73 per million British thermal unit, or BTU. Y'all probably have seen that. That is up about $2.6, $2.66 per million. So that's actually more like 50%. That's not just 20%. That's almost 50%. So this is going to continue to be a problem as long as Russia, as long as Ukraine are battling it out. And so I would just say, get ready, and try to conserve yourself as much as possible. Conserve your energy as much as possible. All right. Affirmation of the day. I am a miracle generator. Wherever I go, I generate miracles. Again, I am a miracle generator. Anywhere I go, I generate miracles. I am a miracle generator. No matter where I go, I generate miracles. Now, y'all know I like to share with y'all some of the affirmations that I read myself daily, and I'm sharing them all with you. And it's funny, the other day, one of my memories came up in Facebook talking about a video I did with a homegirl of mine, and I was talking about how I read these affirmations. And this was like from 2016, 2017. And so I read these affirmations because I believe I always want to try to keep positivity on my tongue, on my mind, and in my heart at all times. And I feel like we all should do that at the same time. So I'm just sharing y'all a little bit of my day. Now, thank you all for joining, right? This is PiDay. Celebrate Pride Day. Talk to your kids about PiDay. If you're a math nerd, if they're a math nerd, and if not, even get them to think about it just a little bit, right? Because again, there's 10 million tech jobs out there waiting to be filled. But again, we covered the market rundown. We covered Russia, Ukraine. We covered electric bills going up higher. So y'all keep that in mind. Get right, get ready, and I will see y'all tomorrow for another daily number. Have a great day, y'all. Bye-bye.